Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Hope you've been enjoying the content as always and you've been taking tons and tons of value away from it. So we're at this stage now where I thought this would be a great opportunity just to share a few insights into how it's going to help you if you're thinking about going trading full time. I'm going to share a brief insight into my personal story as well, but just 3 concepts to consider. When you're going full time, these are really, really important. So I'm going to be talking about routines, I'm going to be talking about processes, and support network. Very, very important 3 concepts here. So for a bit of context, I want to firstly start off with the routines part. So when I first went full time, I don't recommend how I first went full time, but I'm going to share you a little bit of details. So my routine completely went out of whack. It was atrocious. Looking back, it was very, very difficult and I would not recommend it to anyone. And it's because you got to understand, you go from not so much being controlled, but you go from a working environment to then suddenly having all this freedom that you start to wake up when you want to wake up because you've got no real routine. And you think that, when I go full time, once I've got all this time, I'm going to have this perfect routine. But the truth is, after speaking to so many successful traders, it's the same thing. A lot of people do struggle with the routine side of things at the very beginning. So first real tip that I want you to focus on is really think about your routine and understand it takes discipline, because essentially you don't have a boss anymore. You don't actually have to be anywhere at a certain time. So if you feel a little bit tired, how easy is it to just stay in bed and think, well, I'll just have a couple of hours more sleep? And that compounds and compounds. And I'm guilty of it because it happened to me. It got to a point where I was literally trading the Asian session. Why would I be doing that? But it's because I was waking up so late. And then my brother had a 24-hour office, so I was able to go there very, very late and then just trade and do what I want. Sometimes I'd be driving home at like 2, 3 in the morning. It was just insane. And, that didn't benefit me. I'd done okay, but I put myself under a lot of pressure just because one discipline affects another. And because I was doing that and I was doing this, it wasn't good. But overall, you need to understand that when you first go full time, it's okay if your routine does slightly go out of whack. That's okay. Just understand that it's so important for you to develop a consistent routine, become disciplined. It happened to me for a few months, but again, everybody's different. But after speaking to so many successful traders, it's exactly the same thing. The tip of the tongue, what does it come to? Routine. Routine is literally everything. So number 1, routine. You really want to get your routine on point and really get that in check. Once you've got that, you then want to move on to the second point, which is processes. So processes, why is this important? Well, you need your processes when it comes to things like journaling, back testing, your advanced self-review. You need to make the refinements. This is one thing that people should be doing before you're even consistent, before you're going full time. So I'm assuming that you already do this because you should be, right? You want to go into it having great routine, then moving on to the processes. You want to know how you're journaling. You want to know how you're backtesting. You want to know how you're actually looking at what you're doing and then backtesting yourself to your trading plan. So let's say, for example, one of your processes might be you do your weekly advanced self-review. Some of you will do monthly advanced self-review. Let's say, for example, at the end of the month, this is one process that's very important. Let's say you have a trading plan, right? And within your trading plan, you want to make sure that you're sticking to the trading plan. You want to make sure to see if there's any discrepancies. You might not really find much over a month. You really want to test this over a minimum of a 3-month period. So what are you going to do? Well, let's say you've got your trading plan, you take your trades, then at the end of the month, you want to take a look at your trades and say, right, how many of the trades that I took did I stick to my plan? Because sometimes you might be, let's say you bank 12% for the month, you might be up 12%. You look at your plan and you stuck to your plan, let's say 70% of the time. It's a pretty decent ratio. You're not always going to stick to your plan 100%, but as long as you're into the higher ratio, then that's better. What you'll find is people that are inconsistent, they tend to stick to their plan 30% of the time, 20% of the time, and they don't even realize it. So if you're actually treating it like a business, and you truly are, and you don't even know the ratio of what you're sticking to your plan, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So a great process is that. So just to give you an idea, processes are key. That's going to keep you in check. It's going to keep you growing because you can't just rely on consistency alone. This is when traders get a little bit cocky because they know what they're doing to start making money, start making some profits. They get some consistency under their belt and think, oh, do you know what? I don't need to do any of that anymore because I know what I'm doing. Well, again, you're forgetting the very thing that made you consistent in the first place. That'd be like going to the gym, eating well and saying, well, I'm in shape now, so I'm going to just start eating whatever I want. It doesn't happen. You have to do the thing that you've done to get you there over and over again. And sometimes it can be tedious for people, but I love it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to be truly obsessed with this game. That's how you really win. But process is the absolute key. And when you can look at that, even just going to back testing yourself to your plan, when you can look at that and see, right, so in January, February, and March, January I stuck to my plan 70%, February I stuck to it 80%, and then in March I stuck to it, 40%. Then you look, that's not me, but I'm giving you an example. Then you look at why. Why did you stick to that 40%? Was it because other areas of your life were not in balance? Was it, for example, let's say you normally exercise, you go to the gym, you stop going to the gym as much, then you stopped eating as well, right? And then you wonder why all of these things are then going out of whack. Why is that? It's because one discipline affects another. So this is why processes, and it just links back to the first pillar, which is the routine. See how they all link together? And the reason why I want to prepare as many people for this as possible, because I feel like the goal for some people, they just want to kind of go full time for the sake of going full time. And you almost want to quit your job because you're like, no, I hate my job, I really just want to quit. But you have to understand, leverage the time that you have while you're making an income before you go full time. The goal shouldn't just rush to quit your job. You might love what you do. And I don't think the goal has to be for every single person to become a full-time trader. This is why I have other projects. I'd go insane if I was just a trader. This is why I encourage and empower people to become the best version of themselves and focus on projects that they're truly, truly passionate about. It's the most important thing. So if you can do that, have great routines, have some decent processes, you're going to save yourself so much more in the long run. And something you can sustain, that you want to do for your consistency throughout your whole trading career. Something you want to ask yourself as well. As a trader, how many years do you want to trade? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? You want to do something that you're doing now that you can sustain for the longer term. And that really comes in the terms of your management, it comes in terms of your entries. Trade in a way that you're going to trade for years and years to come. Of course, you'll adapt and you'll evolve and you'll tweak things here and there. I've done it over the years, but I've always done it in a way that I'm thinking about, right, how would I do it on scale? How would I do it at scale? Even in the earlier stages when I was 18 years old, first learning in stocks, I still used to think, but if I trade this way now, if I keep doing it like that, because I was just risking more money at some points, I'm not going to do this on more money, so why am I doing it now? So I cut those bad habits out. So remember, everything that you do now should be something that you do when you trade bigger accounts. Now moving on to the next part. So the third part, support network. Really important, I want you to write this down as well. So support network. Why is the support network important? Well, think of it like this. It doesn't matter if you've got 1,000 people, 100 people, or even 5 people. It doesn't matter how good you are, life hits you, right? For example, you could be the best trader in the world, you go through a divorce. What's going to happen then? You've got no one to bounce anything off. No one to bounce nothing off. Then your trading goes downhill. Why do you hear about people that trade millions and millions and then they lose it? You think, how could they do that? How could they be in charge of that level of capital and then just blow it? Emotions. So learning how to manage your emotions, having a good support network, people you can lean on, people that are successful in your field, that's one of the most important things. And after being on a podcast recently and speaking to some, ex-professionals in the market, one of the biggest things they said, the difference between, professional and retail and things like that, the people that actually become successful are the ones that have a great support network either way. That is one of the most important things, because you can bounce ideas. You have to understand that even as a great trader, you can go through rough patches. I've gone through so many over the years, and I haven't met a successful trader that hasn't gone through the rough patches. So know that happens. And when you've got some good people, like-minded people, goal-driven people that are going to be there for you, I think that's actually one of the most important things. In my mind, the goal isn't to just become a great trader and then just be by yourself, because you will experience patches when the market changes, the market evolves, and you've got no one to bounce any ideas off, and you'll thank yourself by surrounding yourself with successful people. Whether it's people in the Falcon community, whether it's your own community that you have, surround yourself with good people doing what you want to do so you can always bounce those ideas off it. So those are my 3 things to consider before going full time. Make sure you've got those things in check. I thought that would help you out, something that I wish that someone helped me. I'm figuring a lot of these things out as I went along. It was hard. Things like the routine. For example, I could have just done that for a very, very long period of time. I'm lucky that I wasn't still in that rut. So you've got to understand that for me to give back, I want to share these insights so you don't waste time and weeks and months just thinking, oh, this is how it needs to be and this is normal. So going back to those 3 things, I really want you to remember and write them down, implement them, and let me know how you get on, especially if you're thinking about going full time. Having that routine, having great processes, and having good people around you, I promise you, those 3 pillars, they're going to serve you in the long run. So hope that helps. And if you've been enjoying this style of content, so stuff like about going full time and things like that, let me know if there's any particular content that you want to see, stuff behind the scenes, whether it's day in the life type stuff, whatever it may be, things that you genuinely believe that's going to provide you value, not just entertainment, but actually provide you value, because that's what this channel is about, helping you grow as an individual in all areas. And it doesn't just apply to the Falcon strategy. It's more so a generalized thing that can help you, because that's what trading's about. You know, you've got your strategy, but there's lots of other things that apply. Doesn't matter what strategy you're trading, you still need great processes, right? You still need great routines, and you still need a good support network. So, guys and girls, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. You took some value. Let me know your number one takeaway. And for those of you that are full-time trading, I'd love to know your routines and things like that. How do you do it? I'd love to know. Have an incredible weekend. I'll speak to you all soon.